Welcome to Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast. Thanks for listening and watching. It's going to be cooler with some thunder in many areas of the Western High Plains and Rockies and Desert Southwest as we go through the day today. And then as we go on into the next 24 to 48 hours, thunderstorms in some areas. And then we're going to start to see temperatures rebound with just your garden variety afternoon and evening thunderstorms as we head on into Thursday and Friday. Then we're going to have a period of hot weather redeveloping. This is going to be especially true for Montana, parts of northern and western Wyoming, parts of the interior and up into southern Canada as high pressure builds and we see some heat building back in again. This is going to be especially true this weekend into early next week, so we've got to be ready for that. But the monsoon moisture pattern is still expected to increase late next week and the following week, and that kind of acts like an air conditioner. If you get that monsoon moisture in, you get more clouds, you get more showers and thunderstorms, and that's not going to make it as hot. And we'll show you how that will unfold. Here's today's weather map. We've got high pressure over the desert southwest, although it's been beaten down a little bit and weakened. Here's the frontal system that came through the area late yesterday and last night. We saw some significant rains in some areas. Scotts Bluff, over an inch of rain in Rapid City. Of course, we did have hail near Gillette. We also had some flash flooding in some areas, but a lot of locations were able to get some beneficial rain yesterday. This system, this frontal system, is going to make it cooler, and you can see on this map what happened yesterday. This is a map showing lightning strikes. I wanted to show this to you, just kind of show you where the thunderstorm activity was. So what you're seeing is not where it rained, but where the highest density of lightning was. And you can see that the monsoonal moisture flow is really showing up. This is a good way to really show where that monsoon moisture is with the lightning strike activity. And you can see how close it is to the higher terrain and mountains. But this is really good moisture right here, and that's one reason why this front that came in yesterday afternoon, last night, was able to be productive with some really good rainfall in some areas. Temperatures today behind the front are going to be refreshingly cool. Anywhere you see blue, green, or purple, below average temperatures expected today. Even, look at this, even western Colorado back into Utah, Arizona, going to be a little bit below average with temperatures. Of course, the heat in the Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Montana areas continue. The thunderstorm threat today, in terms of severe weather, it's going to be more focused now into the Corn Belt. But you notice we've got this little tail of marginal severe potential for Cheyenne to Denver and then portions of northeastern Colorado and northwest Kansas and even back into western Utah there. So we kind of need to watch this area right here for you podcast listeners in southeastern Wyoming and the Front Range of Colorado. There's a pretty good risk of thunderstorms today, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple of severe ones. That means heavy rain. That means the risk of hail as well. So keep your eyes on the skies in that area later today. The forecast through Friday afternoon shows that monsoonal moisture, shower and thunderstorm activity along the Front Range, across portions of western Nebraska, getting up into the northern areas as well. So you're going to have garden variety, late day showers and thunderstorms with the occasional strong one. Look at this. This is something that we saw almost very little or not any last year. Very few times last year it happened. You see these green areas of southeast Utah and southwest Colorado and west central Colorado? These green areas are flash flood watches because of slow-moving, heavy rain-producing thunderstorms threatening those areas with possible flash flooding. And that's just an indication of the available moisture that we have in place right now. And so hopefully that area right there, which continues to be suffering through severe drought, has got a really good chance over the next 2 to 3 days to get some much needed rain. Of course, too much of a good thing does lead to flash flooding, but this time of year, July and early August, peak season for flash flooding in that part of the United States, the Four Corners area especially. Now going forward, as we get into the weekend, this is the heat we're talking about. High pressure starts to expand and grow northward. You see this pink color here. It's driven by this pretty impressive low off the coast of British Columbia. The counterclockwise spin around that low and the clockwise spin around this high helps bring that desert heat north. And what we're going to see is this expanding. This is for Tuesday. We got a high centered right over Jackson Hole. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a bulge of heat again building in. And as we mentioned in yesterday's podcast, southern Canada, Idaho, parts of northern and central Wyoming and Montana and the western Dakotas, it's going to get hot here. It's going to be warm everywhere, but the heat relative to average will be hottest right here as we get into the weekend through Monday and Tuesday of next week. Now, what will happen, though, this high reaches its peak by the middle of next week. After that, it begins its shift eastward. That, in turn, is going to allow the clockwise flow around that high to open the door to that subtropical moisture. And as long as that high continues to move east and shift further east, then we're going to have cooler weather and better rain chances late next week and into the following weekend. But we're going to have to kind of suffer through some hot weather this weekend through the middle of next week. If we were to average the next 10 days with temperature, this is that arch of heat that's been with us all summer, and that will continue. But notice the blue getting up here further north, and this is an indication of active shower and thunderstorm activity and cooler conditions. It's really quite the contrast that's going on between the heat up here and the cooler than normal conditions across the central and southern plains. As we go out further, this is for Monday, July 26th. This is almost the perfect location for the high to be for the monsoon to open up. Basically, if it goes into that area, we'll put the door right here. This would be the door open to we'll put a big M here for monsoonal moisture to come up into Colorado, the Four Corners area, up into Wyoming, western Kansas, western Nebraska, and maybe as far north as the Dakotas and eastern areas of Montana, and even back west into Nevada and parts of southern California. So we continue to see this pattern. This has to hold, though, for that monsoon to come in really, really deep. And that is right around that weekend of the 24th and that following week. And this is what it looks like over the next 15 days. You can see a very moisture-rich environment, even in these areas that have been really, really dry, like here and here, going to finally have some much better chances of rain. And then look at southern and southwest Colorado. Look at the mountains of Arizona and New Mexico. This is nowhere close to what we had last summer, so keep your fingers crossed. We'll keep an eye on it for you as we go forward. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube Day Weather video channel. Have yourself a great Wednesday.